PLA the other day, yesterday, with my friend Tavis Smiley. I'm an investor and a supporter of that station. And he said, who do you want to run for president? I mentioned, I think you'd be good at the job. Not this year, we know. No, I know. But he said, I don't think he could win. I don't think he could win. He's too progressive coming from this state and what he's done in this state to win in any southern state, any red state. I disagreed, but no, this is a progressive African-American owned station, and I'm sure they like you, but doesn't think you can win.
And Karen Bass have already proven their incompetence and poor leadership during the Los Angeles wildfires. Now, as we experience rampant lawlessness and civil unrest, it's never been more clear they're unable to respond effectively and responsibly during calamity. Whether it's sheer incompetence or outright malevolence, the reality is stark. California's in a state of turmoil, and I ask my fellow Angelenos, why are Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass still in office? How much more of their destructive decision-making masquerading as leadership are we going to tolerate?
Bill Maher has never tried to hide his admiration for Gavin Newsom. But this time, even Maher couldn't stay quiet. California's problems have piled up too high, and for someone living right in the middle of it, the failures are hard to ignore. Whenever 2028 is mentioned, Newsom's name comes up as a possible contender. But Maher has a warning. If California is the resume, the sales pitch isn't strong. This wasn't a casual jab. Maher went all in, holding Newsom accountable with the same fire he usually saves for conservatives.
The law in this, I think we have way too many regulations and laws, as we've talked about, and this one, I think, says if you're a department store with over 500 employees, you have to have a gender-neutral toy department. Stuff like that.
Yeah, I get it.
So do you think that's silly? Do you think that's a silly thing that we too much government there?
Look, that's an interesting one because the department stores came to us supporting that, and they were the ones making a case for that. They were making a case they're already moving in that direction.
Wanted you to make a law about them?
Well, but they supported the legislation. It wasn't legislation that was enacted, that was initiated from my office, but it was legislation that came up with interesting support from the industry itself.
California, Maher argued, has turned into a state where progress is buried under endless regulation. The red tape is so heavy that fixing problems feels harder than the problems themselves. He pointed to slow responses to wildfires and a state government that seems more reactive than prepared. Maher's frustration wasn't for show. It was real. To him, the so-called California dream now feels more like a warning label. Expensive, chaotic, and mismanaged.
Years. The fear, the horror, the hell is this guy? Come after me, arrest me, let's just get it over with. Tough guy. You know, I don't give a damn. But I care about my community, I care about this community. The hell are they doing? These guys need to grow up, they need to stop, and we need to push back. And I'm sorry to be so clear, but that kind of bloviating is exhausting. So Tom, arrest me. Let's go.
Under growing criticism, Newsom finally stepped up to the microphone. He started with an apology, then shifted to tough talk, promising arrests and legal crackdowns. But the timing was wrong, and people weren't buying it. To many, it felt like damage control, not leadership. That hesitation only fueled claims that Newsom moves slowly until public pressure forces his hand.
Eventually come out and apologize. If you want to go on Twitter, Rob, and just go to the apology video that he came out eventually. This is, I think, 4-5 days later. On day one, I asked him, I said, are you going to come out and do this? Watch how he's finally wanting to have his people be responsible. Go ahead, Rob.
If you incite violence, I want to be clear about this. If you incite violence or destroy our communities, you're going to be held to account.
Okay.
That kind of criminal behavior will not be tolerated. Full stop. Already more than 220 people have been arrested, and we're reviewing tapes to build additional cases, and people will be prosecuted.
And that's the bigger issue Maher kept pressing. If Newsom struggles to govern decisively in California, how would he handle the chaos of the entire country? Leadership shows itself in a crisis, and Maher sees a pattern. Bold rhetoric followed by shaky execution. California's struggles, from homelessness to rising crime, are already part of the national conversation. And the more Newsom presents himself as a future face of the party, the more those failures will be magnified.
PLA the other day, yesterday, with my friend Tavis Smiley. I'm an investor and a supporter of that station. And he said, who do you want to run for president? I mentioned, I think you'd be good at the job. Not this year, we know. No, I know. But he said, I don't think he could win. I don't think he could win. He's too progressive coming from this state and what he's done in this state to win in any southern state, any red state. I disagreed, but no, this is a progressive African-American owned station, and I'm sure they like you, but he doesn't think you can win.
What makes this critique hit even harder is that Maher is a Democrat himself. He isn't attacking Newsom for being too liberal. He's calling him ineffective. Some Democrats have quietly warned that a Harris-Newsom ticket in 2028 could be disastrous either way. Harris struggles with communication, while Newsom carries a shaky record at home. The reality is simple. Polished speeches don't earn trust when everyday life looks like decline and dysfunction.
Newsom and Karen Bass have already proven their incompetence and poor leadership during the Los Angeles wildfires. Now, as we experience rampant lawlessness and civil unrest, it's never been more clear they're unable to respond effectively and responsibly during calamity. Whether it's sheer incompetence or outright malevolence, the reality is stark. California's in a state of turmoil, and I ask my fellow Angelenos, why are Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass still in office? How much more of their destructive decision-making masquerading as leadership are we going to talk?
Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass hasn't escaped scrutiny either. Between rising taxes, unaffordable housing, and businesses leaving the state, California's leadership looks increasingly out of touch and out of time. More and more residents are packing up and leaving. Not just everyday families, but high-profile figures like Joe Rogan as well. When people feel pushed out of one of the richest states in America, that isn't normal migration. It's a clear red flag signaling deeper problems that leaders still haven't fixed.
Wrapping it up, it doesn't seem to be an organic display of protest. That means that it doesn't have a constituency among regular people. The Los Angeles protesters were fueled by very militant far-left organizations that passed out masks and frozen water bottles and other forms of protection for the protesters. Same thing in New York. This is all organized by the far left, but the people aren't coming out. In fact, on Tuesday night at 9 o'clock in New York, everybody went home. In fact, I guess they were hungry. So this is kind of contrived. And the media hoped it would explode into something more so that Trump would look bad, but that doesn't seem to have been the case.
Even Bill O'Reilly, who's never been shy about sharing his views, suggested that California's unrest and weak leadership leads straight back to Newsom. The governor's habit of offering vague statements instead of taking decisive action only deepens public skepticism. And when reports surface of allies enabling protests rather than shutting them down, it raises even more questions. Leaders are supposed to calm the storm, not add lightning to it.
California Governor Newsom wanted these demonstrations to explode so he could use that as a political cudgel against Trump and elevate himself into a left-wing candidate for president in 28. And let me back that up. So when you have the police chief of Los Angeles in a press conference saying, we're outmanned, we can't control the violence, the fires on the cars, the throwing objects at our own police and ICE agents, we can't control it. And you don't have the governor immediately sending the National Guard down to help the LAPD, then you know the governor doesn't care or wants it to explode. And that's what I believe Newsom did.
Meanwhile, Newsom is busy making national media appearances, doing interviews, hopping on podcasts, and boosting his profile. It starts to look less like governing and more like campaigning. And if public safety is being pushed aside to build a personal brand, that's not ambition, it's negligence. O'Reilly even compared Newsom's hesitation to how quickly New York's governor restored order, and the contrast wasn't flattering.
They didn't want it to explode, and it's easier to control it here because the city is so claustrophobic, and the cops know how to do this, and they did a good job. So they didn't give the miscreants a lot of room to set anything on fire or things like that, and you didn't need the federal presence.
True leadership, Maher argued, means taking decisive action when the pressure is at its peak. New York moved quickly to restore order, while California endured weeks of chaos, hesitation, and bureaucratic delays. For the people caught in the middle, shop owners struggling to keep their businesses open, families trying to stay safe, entire neighborhoods facing disruption, those delays aren't just political theater. They translate into real, tangible losses that affect lives, livelihoods, and trust in leadership.
Or the notion we just have to continue to talk to ourselves or we're in the same damn echo chamber. These guys are crushing us. The Democratic brand is toxic right now. We had a high water mark 2 weeks ago, and that was a CNN poll at 29% favorability. It's dropped in the NBC poll down to 27%. It's one thing to make noise, but you also have to make...
In closing, Maher acknowledged that Newsom was right about one thing. The Democratic Party is deeply fractured. Insiders are quietly stepping away, with even former White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre distancing herself. When key figures at the top start leaving, it's more than just political maneuvering. It's a clear signal of systemic dysfunction. Newsom can smile for the cameras and deliver polished speeches all he wants, but the cracks in leadership are obvious. From rising crime and homelessness to bureaucratic delays and public frustration, California's challenges paint a picture that cannot be ignored. As Maher bluntly put it, California isn't just struggling, it's sending a warning to the rest of America. If leadership falters in the nation's most populous state, the stakes for the country as a whole are far higher. Effective governance, Maher suggests, isn't about charisma or media presence. It's about delivering results when they matter most. And right now, that's a lesson Newsom and his party can't afford to ignore.